Alright, and we are back for round number 2, trial number 1, Drained versus Aeternum. And we got ourselves a Singularity out on the prowl here. Of course, bringing a good old Corrupt Intervention. Add-ons a little bit different from the norm, as we did in fact ban the denied requisition form, at least to see what exactly or how exactly a Singularity does with it. That being said, Zarita in a little bit of trouble, as we do see them here with the Mangled and the not broken, the Mangled stats effect, as well as the they have Sloppy Butcher. Why am I blanking out on what the other stats effect is called? Normally I'm on top of that. The Mangled and Hemorrhage. That's right. Hemorrhage not really doing all too much, but creating more blood on the ground. Nonetheless, Singularity is going to be able to get the down and the hook to boot. This very likely is going to result in a Scourge Hook Pain Resonance, regressing the most progression by 25%. That being said, Survivor going to be pushed off the gen here. Sure enough, there is the Scourge Hook to boot. And we do see Nee here in the shack. Jake in the wings preparing for the unhook. And Ace just kind of hanging around trying to avoid what sounds to be a biopod in the wings. Let's keep an eye on Jake, but Ace actually going to get tagged with the biopod. Singularity not able to teleport just yet, though. Looks like Nia is going to get pushed off of the gen in shack, however. There's the knock on the Zarina and a hit on the Jake from the sounds of things. No, that was a for the people on the Zarina, hence the broken stats effect. However, Zarina in a bit of a dire position. Though they do not have a biopod, they are definitely in a world of hurt. Singularity trying to mind game here, and looks like they will not be able to get it. And unfortunately for them, looks like not a lot of distance gained into a bit of a awkward position here, as they will take another down, this time at a pseudo LL wall. And looks like we are gonna go potentially for a basement hook. Nia not caring whatsoever, just sitting on the generator in the face of the Singularity. And looks like Nia will get the dreaded 7% miss skill check on the exit from the gen. Singularity going to be able to get a slipstream on Nia here. Looks like Jake as well as Ace continuing to be on the gen, but Jake going to get tagged instead. Looks like Singularity going to slipstream, making some distance here, but vaulting into the Singularity. Though a life was procced, no distance was gained. And that there will be another hook here for Singularity, potentially another Scourge Hook as well. Sure enough, regressing the gen that we saw there, as we do see a unhook in the basement. I imagine that we see the Singularity going for the tunnel out here on this arena in just a few short moments. However, no sound of the Terradius just yet. We'll take a look around. Looks like there's an EMP on the biopod here. Nia once again trying to complete the gen at shack. Looks like Serena will get hit with the biopod. Singularity in hot pursuit with the slipstream. Unfortunately for them, unable to get to the pallet in time. That there will be Serena sent back to campfire via the entity. And this will result in a 3v1 scenario at 2 gens completed. We'll have to wait and see if these survivors are able to rally back. And do want to note that we did see a aura of a totem. That there, friends, being a detective's hunch in the mix. That being said, Jake gonna pull up an EMP. Looks like they were broken from a renewal, as they did get a heal there. And good timing, as well as Singularity now in pursuit of the Jake. Gonna get a little bit of mind game here, but getting the pallet drop, and looks like they're going to send out another slipstream. However, Jake in a good spot, as we do have the EMP breaking both the biopod as well as the slipstream on them. Ace, though, now in chase, also with a biopod on their back, but no EMP in hand. Looks like we will see a hit there as we do see the ace move to an LT wall. No exhaustion perk to assist them though, as they do move to this dead corner. Singularity just going to go for the break here. Ace in a world of hurt with no real distance to be gained, especially the Soma family photo in hand from the Singularity. Singularity getting the down though, and let's take a look and see where everyone else is at. Nia here, jumping off of this gen early, Jake as well. I imagine the gen that Nia was on is the one that was regressed by 25% from a Scourge Hook. We'll have to wait and see though, as we do see the Jake get hit by the Singularity Slipstream and the Biopod. Another EMP going off. Gonna get rid of both of those, and it looks like Nia now in chase, running into a wall after the hit. They are in a little bit of a predicament as we are not seeing any pallets in the vicinity. Nia hoping that the pallet is on this side. It is not. Nia just unable to get there in time, as they will take a down at the basement. And looks like Singularity wanting to go for the kill here will in fact go for the Jake. They were not primed and ready for the unhook, and looks like they are going to attempt to go for the unhook now, but it might all be for naught. That being said, Jake hit with the Slipstream. Singularity in hot pursuit. They're going to be able to at least 1-for-1 exchange here for what it's worth, but not before Ace being sent to second stage. We're instead going to see the hit on the Jake. Looks like they might set up for the pickup here on Nia. They're going to have to drop the pallet, but they don't. Instead, going for the vault. There's the life, getting them a little bit of distance. And here's the pick. I'm not sure what they're doing. It's an interesting play. There's a Soul Guard out of the blue on the Nia, allowing these survivors to have another second chance of surviving. And looks like Singularity going to be using their Biopause try and Slipstream here on the Nia. And they will successfully do so. Definitely an unexpected play there, but Nia going to end up going down. That being said, Jake will successfully be able to jump back on the gen. They do not care for the unhook. They want this generator done and done quickly, but it was all for naught as Jake ends up going down to Singularity, leaving the Nia on the ground. And I imagine Singularity going to be making their way here for the pickup and the soon-to-be 4K. And sure enough, there is Hux, and that there will end trial number 1 of round number 2, Drained versus Aeternum. And Drained's killer are going to have their work cut out for them, as they are going to need to get a 4K at 1 gen or less completed in order to secure victory here in round 2. Otherwise, they can go for a tie condition at a 4K at 2 gens completed, though that definitely is going to be a little bit difficult to pull off. That being said, just waiting on this last survivor, the Jake, to suicide out, though it looks like they are wanting to let the timer tick on down. But with them being sent back to the campfire via the entity, that there will end this trial, and we are going to get set up for trial number 2 of this match. With that being said, before we do want to go on a quick break, we do want to make a quick mention that we are partnered with Hell's Taco Truck. All right, and we are back. This time with Drained, killing against Aeternum as the Huntress. And we see the Huntress in the distance out on the prowl. And, you know, there's some perks they just never surprise to see, and that there being a Corrupt Intervention. As far as add-ons are concerned, that there is a Flower Babushka and an Infantry Belt. But looks like we do see the tap avoiding the Huntress ever so stealthily. I thought with the raising of the hatchet, the Huntress was aware, but looks like the tap will avoid her for the time being. Nia, though, not so lucky as we see the 7% skill check miss, and a Huntress vaulting through the window to gain a bit of distance. Firecracker gonna come out, going for the throw, just barely missing the Nia. And looks like we are going to continue the chase here at the shack at this point in time. We see that 2 gens currently being worked on by the David and the Tap. Ace somewhere off in the distance as Huntress throws hatchets one after another. Looks like Ace may have jumped on a gen nearby the chase, hence the hesitancy. That being said, though, there is the pallet drop. Another throw from the Huntress, running out of hatchets here before too long. And looks like Nia will be able to double back and make their way towards the next tile. Huntress gonna have to be careful here lest they do get faked out. And sure enough, there it is. Huntress losing a little bit of distance here, but nothing in sight. The hatchet's just going to be following the Nia a little bit short. Going to be holding him this time, but going to throw a little bit too early. One thing I always recommend for slingers, for huntresses, and range-based killers alike, you want to be patient and zone out the survivors. No need to throw too early if you can guarantee an M1 hit instead. That being said, survivors with 2 gens completed have now met the tie condition. If this final gen by the Ace does get completed, that there will be the win condition for the survivors, and they will move into round number 3 undefeated, vying for the 2 invites to season 9 of Champs of the Fog. That being said, Nia gonna be dropping that pallet early. Looks like Huntress going to be dropping chase instead. Looks like we now have the Ace here now in chase by the Huntress, and Huntress once again going to be vaulting that window, trying to get a little bit of distance, enough to go for the throw, but the Ace stuck in right below. Huntress in an unfortunate position as the chase does end, allowing the revault of the window without blocking it by the entity. And looks like the Ace just going to continue chase here. And we do see the mind game, though missed by the Huntress. That was a mid-vault, but aiming a little bit too close to Shack instead. And we now see 3 gens Aeternum. Huntress with the throw, once again, just a little bit late. The red stain going through the basement stairs, showing it to the Ace, who will fake it out. And once again, dropping chase, allowing them for the vault here. Quick and quiet, activating as well for what's worth. Huntress turning the corner. A bit of a mind game here. Ace finally taking the hit, but the 3rd gen completed. That there will be Aeternum walking away victorious here in round number 2. And I think that Ace was actually going to go for a bit of a different play, but instead getting the stun. And we will see the Huntress hold their hatchet. Looks like Ace jumping into the locker. Huntress a little bit mind gamed here. However, that they're going to be a head-on, stunning the Huntress, masterfully executed as the 5th gen is completed. X-Gates now powered, 20 seconds away from this game being over, and these survivors escaping via the X-Gates and returning to the campfire. There's the swing by the Huntress. Ace not wanting to drop it just yet, instead taking a drop underneath the pallet. We do see the David here in the wings, ready for a pallet stun. Huntress looking around, thinking things are a little bit suspicious, and for good reason. I think we see 2 survivors, the Nia as well. Huntress gonna be throwing a hatchet at the Tap, will get the hit. And Huntress sensing that the David's here, but not seeing them, instead taking another throw at the Tap. And Huntress knows something is up. They're not wanting to go for the pickup just yet. That means that the survivor primed and ready to get picked up off the ground in a moment's notice. Huntress, though, still not going to go for the pickup, instead wanting to secure their kill. Desperate to do so, to not get outed by these survivors. And looks like the Huntress readying up another hatchet. Nia and David just waiting here. I mean, it's more likely that we see a bleed out at this point. Someone's gonna have to make a move eventually. Otherwise, we have a little bit of a stalemate on our hands. And it looks like David with the Urban is going to come in, take the hit, and there's the pickup as well. The Ace, I think with a Soul Guard there, will take a Endurance hit as well. Looks like Ace still in chase, trying to get away. And Huntress kind of fallen off here. I'm not sure if they are out of hatchets or not. Ace, though, trying to mind game this tile here, holding the corner and holding it patiently. Huntress, though, knowing they're there, just trying to fake them out to gain a little bit of distance. And looks like we are back underneath this pallet once again in a repeat scenario, though. This time, Nia here, primed and ready for the pallet drop. Huntress looking around, but getting found out this time. Huntress hold up the hatchet, just trying to fake them out in order to push them away, but we do see the heal on the David as well. Exit gate has been opened, so timer is taken down. EGC waits for no one, though the timer has been extended to 4 minutes. We are about 1 minute in at this point in time. Huntress still wanting to go for the kill here. About 2 minutes before Ace is dropped, though Ace gonna get picked up here, it would seem. Huntress looking around, trying to see who they can find, finding the Nia, who has yet to be injured. Nia, though, doing a great job using this window to their advantage. Looks like we see David taking it through the window. They're gonna have to be careful, as Nia will take a hit as well. That's all survivors currently injured. No body blocks incoming. Huntress, though, I think they're out of hatchets. I think it comes down to the M1. Will Nia escape via the X gates? And it looks like they will, just barely. All right, and we are back, though this time with a little bit of a, I guess, bonus trial. X9 and Aeternum did get a little bit of a delay, so we are here with Senselessly versus Zenith, as Zenith is killing as the Blight. Of course, good old Corrupt Invention in the mix, though already deactivated with the early down on the Jake. That being said, we are going to take a look around. Looks like Blight will be as well. They, of course, having the Blighted Crow and the Blighted Rat in hand. As far as other perks are concerned, there is a little bit of a unique one, though we will reveal that in just 1 second, as we did see a Pop Goes the Weasel in the background, regressing the most progressed gen by, or regressing that gen by 30% of its current progression. Fourth perk, though, is a bit interesting. It is, in fact, a Spies from the Shadows, which we don't see often on Blight, but instead on Nurse. So definitely a unique pick here. Jake, though, going to be dropping that pallet. We do see that they do have a lucky break in hand, as we do not see scratch marks or blood being shown here to the Blight. They also, as we saw earlier, do have a overcome as well, as they did get a speed boost earlier in the match on the initial hit. However, Jake going back down once again, being put back onto this hill hook, one hook away from being sent back to campfire via the entity. We'll have to see if these survivors are able to rally back. We'll take a look and see where these survivors are at. 2 on gens. Looks like the Nia here hanging around, trying to set up for the unhook. Though we also see what looks to be the Ace taking the Blight away from the hook here, though potentially going for a 1-for-1 exchange. And sure enough, there's the 1-for-1. And attempted for the people, but a little bit of a misplay, folks, as we will see Jake in chase once again, applying the deep wound stas effect here to Jake off the endurance, trying to make their way over to the pocket here. Blight not getting turned around there, will zip on past the Jake, and looks like they are instead now on the Ace. Though, no, not on the Ace. I think going back to their Jake, they may have gone a little bit further past than they intended. And now Jake, getting a bit mind gamed here, will end up going down and sent back to the campfire via the entity. We see Ace here healing up about halfway and then letting the Nia heal them up the rest. A bit of an interesting choice, maybe for a specific reason that we are not aware of. but we see the Ace going to be completing their heal here, trying to ensure that they are not downed all too quickly. That being said, we do see Ada complete another gen, 2 gens down in a 3v1 scenario. This gen here pretty well progressed, but Blight is on their way, as we do see a sprint burst here from the Nia, allowing them a little bit of extra distance. That being said, though, looks like Blight does drop chase instead, popping that gen. 30% of the current progression of that gen is stored away, and we do now see the Ace here in chase with the Blight once again. No pallets in sight, as the Ace will take the hit, seeming like they want to try and link these tiles together if at all possible. Pre-drops and pallet, though, as the Blight will get the Blighted Rush and the break. Only 2 charges used, and looks like they tried mind game the Blight here, and I think they successfully did so. Well played by the Ace. However, another Blighted Rush incoming. Blight trying to get the angle here, not able to do so in time. Ace gonna be going back around, faking out the Blight, trying to make it to another pallet, and they will successfully do so before pre-dropping it. Ace doing a fantastic job here, as the 3rd gen now completed for these survivors. They are now in a prime position to potentially escape via the exit gates. Blight a little bit turned around once again, as the Ace trying to make their way over to the window. Blight, though, getting the down this time round, and that there will be the Ace put on the hook for the first time here, leaving the Ada and the Nia to complete these last 2 gens. Ada, though, with a Deja Vu in hand, going to be progressing that gen just a little bit quicker, as Nia is going to be waiting in the wings, looking like they are going to set up for the unhook here. Blight, though, going to be doing a quick check around this pocket, as it looks like they may have seen the Nia, and sure enough, Nia with the sprint burst will gain a little bit of distance for what it's worth, but will take the hit. Blight, though, in hot pursuit, but no. They're just going to go back for the unhook, it seems, and looks like they are going to be going for the Ace, going to go for another tunnel out attempt. But actually, before they do, going for a hit on the Ada, it would seem, and actually pursuing her. There's the life, not gaining much distance there, as we do take a quick pause to make sure the Blight was actually going to break the pallet. Blight, I imagine, with the Blighted Rush in hand, will not get the down at the window. A little bit of a slide there, a pre-drop from the Ada, and I think another mind game incoming. Blight, though, going to be able to successfully do so, and getting the hit over the pallet. Nia, though, going to be able to get the reset. Looks like Ace going to get reset as well. And here will be another hook here for the Blight, as they will get Pop Goes the Weasel in hand. Looks like we do see what appears to be a heal with that med kit there. And looks like Nia's going to be hanging out once again, trying their best to set up for the unhook, as looks like Ace will be in chase, getting forced back into this pocket, but Blight going to be going back for the unhook, it would seem. They're going to try and get this heal here with a wheel make it, but it's going to be for naught, as Ada not going to get that heal. Looks like Nia going to be in chase, taking the hit as well, making a bit of distance for what it's worth, but Blight going to be dropping chase at them once again. Maybe Blight knowing something that we are not aware of, as we will see the Ada with the vault, the life in hand, once again giving them a little bit of extra distance. And Ace gonna get pushed off their generator here. Blight doing a good job of pushing these survivors around. However, Ada in a dangerous position, though they will draw the Blight away from the active generators and will be able to make their way to a pallet. Though Nia back here as well. Blight going to be going for the fatigue out at the locker. Unfortunately for the Ada, not going to have enough distance to get to the pallet in time, and that there will be the Ada down. And looks like this here will be the second hook for her, in that she is one hook away from being sent back to campfire via the entity. Ace, though, on this gen, just a few more moments before they're able to complete it. The question is, will the Blight be on their way? And sure enough, here he is, folks, with a Pop Goes the Weasel in hand. And I'm not sure if these survivors have caught on to spies in the shadows just yet, as Ace just barely disturbing that crow there. And looks like we do have the Blight here at the LT wall. Blight going to go for a mind game. Ace, sensing it, will end up avoiding it, but not before Blight making some distance. There's the vault. Ace going to take the hit, going to draw the Blight further into the pocket. Blight going to go for the rush, but there is a pallet here. Will get the break, allowing the Ace a little bit of distance, but not enough. Ace going to try and go for mind game of their own. And looks like we're just kind of sitting here at this wall. Ace, though, going to be going down, and this will be their second hook here. The question is where the Ada and the Nia are. Looks like they are resetting, but Ada about 50% in on this gen. However, they are going to be dropping a little bit early. Maybe trying to go for a reset here on the Nia. I'm not entirely sure. And looks like we will see that hook on the Ace after all. Nia setting up, and looks like that is a hook in the basement to boot. We see the Blight going off into the pocket here. I imagine Ada going to be trying to hide out and wait for the pop to happen to be able to jump on that gen once again. The question is whether or not Zenith's Blight is going to be able to get back in the basement in time, and sure enough, there's the unhook by the Nia. We do see that sprint burst coming in, trying to get behind the Ace. There is the deep wound stats effect. Looks like Ace very well might be the sacrificial lamb here, as Blight is going to be in hot pursuit. No body blocks for the Ace here today, and Ace will make the way into main. Blight gonna be going around trying to get this hit, and will just barely miss there on the Blighted rush. That being said, though, it looks like Ace trying to make their way over to a pallet, but no, I think they took the wrong side. The deep wound stats effect clouding their judgment, though we do see 2 survivors on gens, 8 about 50% on this gen. That is actually a decisive strike from the Ace. Didn't realize it at the time, but Ace going back down not too long thereafter. But that will give their survivor team enough time to continue working on these gens. Nia about 50% on this one, Ada about 70 on hers. The question is, which one will the Blight chase off first? As we do see the Nia walking away just a bit early, and looks like Blight with those spies from the shadows will find the Nia, which will allow the Ada to complete the 4th generator. Question is, no, Blight instead going to be going for the pop on the gen, prioritizing it first. Looks like they will chase the Ada here, as Nia will try and complete this gen. However, looks like Blight going to be coming back, trying to push them off once again. And we got a little bit, I wouldn't say this is a 3 gen, but it's a tight cluster of gens. And so yeah, looks like Ada going to pick up this gen instead of trying to complete the one that Ada was on. Nia just needing to hold this chase for roughly 90 seconds, and if they're able to do so, that will be 5 gens completed and the exit gates powered. That being said, Nia taking it Blight with all tokens in hand, and looks like they are going to actually drop chase instead. Now going to pursue the Ada here. Ada trying their best to avoid the hit, and will successfully do so. Going to be drawing the Blight into this pocket here. And looks like they will get the vault here on the pallet for what it's worth. A Lithe in hand, getting them a little bit of distance. Ada knowing full well that they have to escape while they have the chance, but Blight gonna be going back to this gen that the Nia is on. And Nia, they pushed into the pocket. There ain't much in the way of resources here, so Nia just hoping desperately that they are able to evade the Blight, but not for long. And it looks like we will see the Ada on the gen, back 50% in though. Blight going for the pickup. This is going to be a close one here, folks, on this last generator. We'll have to wait and see what comes of it, as Blight still without getting the hook just yet. This Ada getting a lot of progress in for what it's worth, and Nia not getting hooked. A sprint burst getting them a little bit of distance, and looks like Blight actually going to be dropping chase instead, going for the Ada here. Will successfully get the hit. Ada trying to go for the POV tech, but not able to do so successfully. Blight did use a lot of Blighted Rush tokens, though, meaning that it's going to be a bit of time before they do get those refreshed. Ada, though, with the mid-vault, and as we say all the time, a mid-vault is a gift to every killer. we do see the Blight coming back once again. Spies in the Shadows being a key aura reading, or rather information tool here, as it has allowed for the Blight to find the survivor in the middle of nowhere. And looks like we are going to see the down here on the Nia. However, we do see something interesting, that there is a unbreakable, as we did see the yellow progression bar there. Blight going to be dragging them in more towards the middle, it would seem. And looks like they're trying to drag them here to this hook, but it might be a little bit greedy here, as I think the Nia will get off their shoulder with a sprint burst in hand. But it does not mean much here, as the survivor bleeding out on the ground is on second stage, meaning that even if they do bleed out, it is not a loss of points here for this killer, as all they need to do is end up hooking the Nia. But honestly, not a bad result for these survivors in the grand scheme of things. This year looking like a 4K at 4 gens completed. As we say all the time with the S tiers, it's not about how many survivors escape via the exit gates. It's in fact about how many gens you have completed. That being said, Blight gonna be going for the pickup here on this survivor. And looks like Blight may not know exactly where they are. Yeah. Nowhere in sight. That there is a deliverance though from the Nia. Going to give these survivors a second chance of escaping, or at least a second chance of completing this exit gate. About 2 minutes left on the bleed out timer. If they're able to wait it out to the very last second, there is a possibility of them escaping via the exit gates. That being said, Blight nearby, and Nia, not having faith that the Blight didn't know where she was, will end up jumping out the locker. And yeah, without that deliverance now, it's looking like this might result in the 4K. Blight trying to do some mind games here, but Nia just going to be holding the corner until the very last moment. Blight with the swing and the hit. That there will secure the kill here on the Nia, as the survivor has no way out. However, if they are close enough to the hatch, there is a possibility of escape via the hatch here. Would be quite spicy indeed. That being said, Blight, once again, very aggressive on these hooks, and just 99.9%. You know that survivor is screaming at their screen as we speak. But less than a minute here on this bleed out timer. Things looking grim for the survivors, and they may have actually proc Spies from the Shadows as well, as this here will result in the 4K for Zenith's killer, with 4 gens completed by senselessly survivor. So not too bad, but that there is trial number 1 of this match. That being said, we are now going to be moving over to X9 versus Aeternum in the round 3 XO bracket. With that being said, folks, before we do jump into that, we are going to go on a quick break.